All right, we're live, Sheila. Hi, everybody. Welcome to another Q&A office hour and strategy call. I am here with a very special guest today. Thank you, Sheila, for filling in for Kathy. We had a little bit of a scheduling issue, and Sheila just raised her hand. She's like, I'll take it. Let's do it. And so for those of you who are expecting to see Kathy Swift today, Kathy's definitely going to be joining us. Hopefully, before the end of the year, but relatively soon. And today, Sheila is going to be managing the conversation. So, Sheila, while I check my technology, could you please introduce yourself to our guests today in the kitchen?
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for having me today.
Course,
it's always so much fun chatting with you. I'm so glad to be here.
It's great. It's great.
Absolutely. Well, my name is Dr. Sheila Dean. I'm a registered dietitian and a certified functional nutrition practitioner. I had my own private practice for about 17 years. And around that time, I also, along with Kathy Swift, my wonderful business partner, we launched the Integrative and Functional Nutrition Academy about almost a decade ago now. And so our mission is to transform the practice of nutrition, but I'd like to take it a step further and really say that we like to do that by teaching about root cause medicine, right? So teaching about this approach. People often reach out to me and ask me, what can I do with functional nutrition? And I always let them know that it's not like there's a job necessarily that you're going to have, right? It's about the approach. It's about really helping your patients using principles of root cause medicine.
You built it into everything that you do.
Exactly. Absolutely. And I also, I do quite a bit of teaching for university, a lot of writing projects, a lot of teaching projects and that sort of thing. So yeah, I'm an educator at heart, Jeannie.
As am I, which I think is why we work so well together, the three of us, you and Kathy and myself. So again, thank you so much for joining us today. Our conversation today is going to be about metabolic detoxification. And I'm just so excited to have this conversation, particularly at this time of year, because we're actually ahead of January 2023, right? So Sheila, what happens, and we all know the answer, but let's just talk about it. What happens in January in the nutrition field?
Well, everybody wants, exactly. The new diet, the new detox, all of that, right? All of the above. But, I will say that detox really means a lot of different things to different people. It really does conjure up different images. It's not really clear to a lot of people, but detoxification in general, Jeannie, is really nothing more than the process of removing something harmful from the body, right? But metabolic detoxification is specifically your body's natural ability of removing any type of foreign substance from the body via a two-phase process.
And we're going to talk about that today. That's so amazing. So for all of the evidence-based practitioners who are joining us right now, Sheila and her team and I are going to support you with really cutting through that noise of detoxification, right? All that nonsense that's out there and coming to the evidence, which is that your body has natural detoxification processes, and there are known ways to optimize that. Is that accurate, Sheila? Okay.
Absolutely.
Great. Okay. So let's just talk before we actually get into the details of metabolic detoxification and what it is. Let's talk about our partnership. This is very cool. Okay. So this is a new announcement, actually, just hot off the press. We have been partnering with IFNA. When was the last time we spoke? You actually looked it up, Sheila. Because we did our event together when IFNA and Living Plate RX partnered.
Yeah. Well, gosh, that was a while ago, but it was somewhere around 2019.
Okay.
I mean, we've been partnered for a while now and doing all sorts of stuff. Yeah.
And my role is to support Sheila and Kathy and their community of IFNA students and IFNA alum with translating the integrative and functional nutrition science into food, into meal plans, right? So really translating all of the protocols, metabolism is just one of them, all of the protocols that IFNA students go through as part of the academy and translating that into actions that patients can take, which is, the best action they can do is to select the proper foods and bring them into their home and then prepare them. Did you want to add anything to that, to the kind of meal planning partnership?
No,
Okay.
I mean, yeah, it's like exactly what you said. And I really love that it's both consumer facing and and good for practitioners as well.
Yeah, exactly. What we're doing that's new is at Living Plate RX, we produce nutrition education materials for practitioners that are consumer facing, right? So IFNA students are getting all of this valuable knowledge to improve themselves as professionals, right? As integrative and functional nutrition professionals. And they can take that knowledge, and they should, right? And share it with consumers. What my role is to support these practitioners with consumer facing content. So now we're going above just the meal plans, and we are actually going to build a consumer facing course around, is it the metabolic detoxification module inside IFNA? Is that accurate?
It's the detoxification module. Yes, the metabolic.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So inside of IFNA, actually, why don't you, Sheila, just explain, you've already explained your mission, but actually what is IFNA and what do students, what does it look like if you're a student of IFNA?
Well, first of all, IFNA is the Integrative and Functional Nutrition Academy, and there's a couple of different ways that people can interact with IFNA, right? So minimally, we offer 224 CEUs, continuing education units for dietitians towards their RD credential, right? So we're pre-approved accredited providers of CEUs. So that minimally, if that's all you need, or just a bunch of CEUs, that's what you can get. But so we're selling medical education, but the main thing that IFNA does, and what most people come to IFNA for, is the advanced practice credential, the IFNCP. That stands for the Integrative and Functional Nutrition Certified Practitioner. So that when you go through these 33 modules, 33 wonderfully cohesive modules filled with a very comprehensive toolkit presented by our all-star cast, right? When you matriculate through the different modules, when you're done, you are then eligible to take a peer-reviewed board exam. And when you pass, you earn the IFNCP credential. And it really does distinguish you as someone who is a ninja in functional medicine. And we're really proud about that. And so, Jeannie, what you're referring to is in Track 2, Module 6 is the module that you're referring to.
Okay, so just a tiny, tiny, tiny piece of everything that you're learning in the IFNA track.
Yeah, an important piece. It's a really very important one.
Yeah, and of course it's popular, and it's I think consumers are really hungry for this information. I think all of the information, of course, is amazing and should ultimately be translated to be consumer facing. But we're just starting with detox simply because my community has been asking for a detoxification module, and I am not an expert in metabolic detoxification. So we're bringing you guys in. So that is the announcement. There will be a consumer-facing metabolic detoxification module. I'm actually going to show everybody, once we're done with our conversation, I'll take you guys on the inside of the framework because we've already built it. All right. So let's kick this off. What is metabolic detoxification?
Well, so like I was saying earlier, detox is nothing more than just the removal of a harmful substance, right, from the body. But metabolic detoxification is specifically the body's natural process of removing any type of foreign substance from the body via a two-phase process. Now, I do want to mention that this word foreign substance, sometimes in the literature that's called a xenobiotic, right? XENO, xenobiotic. But that doesn't necessarily have to refer to like an overt toxin, like, cigarette smoke or mercury or a toxic metal. That could be something as simple as the artificial chemical sweetener in the yogurt that someone is consuming, right? Or it could be the chemical coating on the medication that someone takes. Those things have to get detoxified. In fact, Jeannie, even things that we naturally produce, like our own estrogen in our body, when we make those, we have to also detoxify those. And so all of these things have to go through a metabolic detoxification process. And in general, it happens via a two-phase process.
So I'm actually going to skip ahead then, since you're bringing up the two-phase process. If you could explain that, that'd be great.
Sure. So whether it's something as like a hormone, or whether it's a foreign substance, whether it's a lipid soluble toxin, which, as I mentioned earlier, is known as a xenobiotic, whatever it is that the body needs to detoxify, right? Because it can't just build up in the blood. The body has to find a way to get rid of it. So the first step, or the first phase, is via a family of enzymes. And if you want to get technical, they're referred to as your cytochrome P450s. And there's a whole family of them. And, you can, people, dietitians, anyone can look up the different cytochrome P450s, and they can see what substances, or what we refer to as substrates, they detoxify. You can see that there are inhibitors, there are things that speed up the process. But regardless, the first step, or the first phase, is where this foreign substance, or even an internal substance, goes through this first step of being detoxified. Now, I should say that when this happens, it produces an intermediate, and oftentimes the intermediate is quite volatile, right? Like for example, reactive oxygen species, or ROS. That's a pretty volatile intermediate that's produced, but that's okay, because phase 2 kicks in, where and that's referred to as conjugation. So think of the word conjugate as another word for connect. The body then connects that intermediate with some type of natural substance, like a methyl group, or a glucuronide molecule, or a glutathione, or some type of amino acid, or an acetyl group, or a variety of different organic substances. It'll combine it, or conjugate it, or connect it to that intermediate, in effect rendering it benign. And so your body then can excrete it out. And that sometimes is referred to as phase 3, or excretion, or whatever you want to call it. So those are essentially the 2 steps. And the thing that's really important for us as dietitians or nutrition professionals is that nutrients drive phase 2, especially. I mean, actually both phases, but particularly phase 2. So if a person, for any reason, whether it's just purely because the diet is deficient, right? Or if there's a drug-induced nutrient depletion, or you have some sort of genetic variation that puts you at risk for a nutrient depletion or a nutrient deficiency, for any of those reasons, all of the above, or even a combination of those reasons, if you're not getting enough of a particular nutrient, just let's say magnesium alone, that can impair the process of detoxification. And so in a nutshell, what you can say accurately is that nutrients, or nutrition, drives detoxification. The 2 are completely intertwined.
Could you give me an example of where nutrition would impact phase 1?
Okay, so that's a great question. So phase 1, remember, phase 1 was those cytochrome P450 enzymes. So just think of enzymes, right? But enzymes are proteins. And so if you're not getting enough protein, that can potentially cause a problem. The other thing is, enzymes are proteins, and so they are originally, they're genes, right? Genes becoming proteins. And if a person has a genetic variant, so a more technical way to refer to that is a SNP, or some of you already know about something called single nucleotide polymorphisms, right? So SNPs are genetic variants. So if there's an issue there, that can impair phase 1. But where it really becomes a real issue is in phase 2. You need vitamins, you need minerals, you need amino acids, you need vitamins that make those methyl groups, acetyl groups, glutathione, right? Think about glutathione as really a tripeptide, right? And so you need those nutrients for that phase 2 to properly kick in. And when you're not getting enough nutrients for any reason, you're going to have impaired detoxification. Where this becomes really kind of egregious, especially in a country in the US where we have a lot of food, right? An abundance of food, is where 2 things. One, where we're getting, I would call it too much of too little, right? Too many calories, but not enough nutrient density, right? Or the standard American diet.
Right.
Or 2, when you are taking medications, and this is something you would have to discuss with your practitioner, that induce a depletion, right? Drug muggers, right? So
Can you give us an example? Give us an example of a drug mugger. Yeah, love it.
An example, I'll give you two common examples, right?
Okay.
Statins, which are cholesterol lowering medications,
Yep.
right, are well documented to produce a CoQ10 deficiency. And that's why you see all these fish oil products coming out with additional CoQ10 to supplement for people when they're on statins. So that's just one example. Another common example would be various types of blood pressure lowering medications can deplete you of magnesium, which, by the way, I would say magnesium is one of those extra susceptible nutrients that you can birth control, oral birth control, can deplete a person of magnesium and a variety of different nutrients, B vitamins. And so these are things that we have to be aware of so that, we can detoxify optimally. Because think about our toxic load, Jeannie, right? We were talking about this earlier, this term toxic load. Really, essentially, a toxic load is kind of what it sounds like. It's the harmful chemicals that accumulate in your body through exposures to things like air or the water, whatever you ingest, whatever you're inhaling, the various pollutants. I mean, when you go and pump gas, we're inhaling and we're ingesting different pollutants all day long. And so there is a certain amount of toxic load. And when we're getting the nutrients that we need to drive detoxification, generally speaking, we can detoxify these things. But there's a lot of examples, like I said, drug-induced nutrient depletion, poor diet, and SNPs, where there's a problem with detoxification. And over time, you start to develop health issues. And this is really going to show up or really be important for people with autoimmune diseases, Jeannie, but also think about, patients with various intestinal disorders. And it doesn't even have to be anyone with a diagnosis. I mean, even when somebody comes to us and presents with just lethargy and fatigue, they're just, I'm exhausted, the bags under their eyes, detoxification is going to be something we're going to want to assess.
We have some questions here for you. We're just going to pause here. A lot of great topic. Happy to be here. This is great. Oh my gosh. Somebody said, Hillary said, oh my goodness, I can't wait for this. So this is great. Maureen has a question. Do you need to be an RD to take the certification course?
So the IFNA course is specifically targeted to the nutrition professional. I wouldn't say specifically an RD, as if you're a nutrition professional. We do have an alternative route for non-healthcare professionals.
Right.
Non-healthcare professionals would not be eligible to take the exam, but you can contact us for those details. So, and that's what I was saying earlier, that there are a few different ways you can interact with IFNA. And the most common way is the board exam for nutrition professionals. But, and the training is incredible. I mean, this is the wonderful thing about being able to source some of these modules to the top experts and really in the world. So it's, yeah.
So the answer is yes, you can enroll in IFNA, but the certification course is only available to healthcare professionals.
A small clarification, the credential.
The credential.
Okay. Yeah, the credential. Yeah. I mean, you can still get a certificate, but
got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
The credential. Okay. Yeah. So very close. Yeah.
Thank you for clarifying. So Hillary, I hope that answered your question. Yeah. Jen Hagan has a question. What are some ways you identify deficiencies that promote detoxification in the body? Great question, Jen. Love that.
I know. There's so many different ways, right? Okay. So that's first of all, that's a great question.
That's a big question. It's a great question. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So that starts with a really great assessment, right? So and of course we provide assessment tools for our dietitians and nutrition professionals, but you have to do a really great workup. And part of this is like the science of functional nutrition, and part of it is the art of functional nutrition that just comes with time. Sure. So it could be something, Jeannie, it could be something as simple as, just taking in a recall and just understand, kind of understand what the patient is eating. And sometimes, you can just get a very obvious idea, like, okay, there is definitely a deficiency in this particular, in some area. But if you really want to get specific, that's where lab testing comes in. And there's all kinds of lab testing. I mean, it could be blood, it could be urine, and we get into all, training you on all of that. So essentially lab testing is how we would identify. Now, I do want to say that in cases where, for whatever reason, whether you're unable to order, you don't have access to order, let me tell you, I might be jumping ahead, guys. But let me just tell you that there are a couple of superfoods, right? There are a couple of superfoods that I do want to mention. And that I would say at the top of the totem pole, keep in mind that irrespective of a patient's genetics, irrespective of their labs, you can't go wrong most of the time when you make certain recommendations like promoting eating sulfur-containing vegetables. What are sulfur-containing vegetables? So we're talking about your cruciferous vegetables, right? So your broccoli and your cauliflower, right? And of course, there's a variety of them. But also don't forget about your alliums, right? Your garlic and your onion. But so when they come from the plant, what's wonderful about coming from the plant is that you're also going to get the phytochemicals, those phytonutrients as well. So it's kind of like a double whammy benefit because you're getting the phytonutrients as well. And in addition to the sulfur containing portion of the vegetable, but you can also, I mean, think about there's animal sources that are also helpful. And I would say, like organic eggs are a great sulfur containing food. One of my favorite things for people who are not vegetarian. So like one of my favorite meals is I have these beautiful organic eggs that I make, these curried egg salads on top of these greens. It's got like chopped broccoli and, beautiful red, peppers. And so, there's a lot of ways of getting those wonderful nutrients in to support, to drive detox.
So having data from a micronutrient test can be valuable, but it's not always necessary. That's what I'm hearing. Not always, right? You can still make progress. In other words, it might be necessary, but you can still make progress without having that data.
I mean, see, here's the thing. Labs are great. Genetic tests are great. And what's wonderful about having the labs is that you've got, something in black and white where it's something very specific and something pointed. And let's face it, it helps with compliance when you have something on paper. Right. But there are times where you just can't order the lab, right? And so when that happens, it's always still a good idea to make those food recommendations I just talked about. Now, there are going to be occasions where somebody might have an issue with certain kind of vegetables, and that's a different story. But generally speaking, you can't go wrong recommending those specific kinds of vegetables.
So we have a bunch of questions. How do I enroll into the academy? So that's great. So actually, there was
IFN Academy, ifnacademy.com.
So we have someone saying, I am a functional medicine health coach, and she completed the IFNA course, best thing she's ever taken. So
awesome.
Yeah, definitely go to ifnaacademy.com. Somebody else is asking enrollment information. And of course, you can tag Sheila. I think you're at Sheila Dean on Facebook, right? So
I am both. Yeah, you can tag IFN Academy at Sheila Dean at IFN Academy. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So just go ahead and drop a note below and tag me and or Sheila, and we'll get you some specific information. Someone is asking, would the certification course credential be something an RN could get? So could an RN get the credential?
Yes, I'm so glad this question came up. And let's just say the reason why this is so helpful is because this question is because, listen, it's not a simple thing to go back and become an RD. So if you're already a healthcare professional, if you're a physician, an RN, or some type of healthcare professional, you don't have to go back and get a master's degree. In fact, what you want a program that's going to be more clinically oriented, right? But evidence-based, right? So this is really an ideal situation for someone who doesn't have the time or really even the financial resources to go back for an entire degree, but wants a comprehensive certification.
Great point. We have a question. How can you help with outpatients clinic where access to dietitians is very challenging?
Oh, I know. Well, I mean, I don't know that I have a good answer for that one. I mean, it really, every professional, healthcare professional's access to the patient is going to be different.
Right.
I mean, so, I mean, if you can't, I don't know, if you can't access the patient, you know, referrals, online referrals,
Right.
online resources, you know, can be helpful, but, you know, and more RDs and nutrition professionals are providing their services via telehealth. So accessing an RD is getting easier and easier. You don't have to physically go sit in anyone's office these days.
Do you have a list of those healthcare professionals who have gotten the credential on, if you know, ifnacademy.com? You do. Okay. So that might be the answer. So referring out would also be terrific, but you know,
the graduate directory on the website. Yeah.
Okay. To Padam's question also, I would say that if you don't have access to a dietitian, going through the academy is ideal. You know, somebody on the team going through the academy is ideal because you'll get the integrative and functional nutrition evidence-based information without having to have, you know, that added credential of registered dietitian. Does that make sense, Sheila?
Yeah.
I think that kind of ties. Okay. All right. So, so Maureen is saying recipes, please. And then Jen is saying love egg salad too. So, you know, talking a little bit about the food, you know, getting to what is on your plate, Sheila. You had said that you were thinking about creating a detoxifying meal before, but you ran out of time. So what, like, give us a few ideas of what might a detoxification recipe look like?
Okay. I mean, I'm going to give you the obvious ones, okay? Because there's so many.
Okay.
But because there's so many nutrients involved in detoxification. But, you know, again, the superstar nutrients are going to be your cruciferous vegetables. So you guys, anytime you can do any kind of slaw, you know, any kind of broccoli slaw, anything involving cabbage, purple cabbage, any kind of cabbage, that's always going to be a home run. You know, and then if you can do it with a side of green tea that provides you with some of those wonderful phytonutrients in green tea. I have to tell you that, you know, I subscribe to research on PubMed. PubMed is the world's largest medical database. And every day, I'm telling, I would say almost every day.
I spend a lot of time there.
Almost every day, I get articles on the magical powers of, you ready? Resveratrol. Resveratrol is like the superstar of the superstar. I have never seen so much. Well, maybe there's one exception, and that would be curcumin. Resveratrol and curcumin are like the two top, you know, Mother Nature's, you know, superstars of nutrients. And of course, we can get curcumin from turmeric, this wonderful spice turmeric, right? And feel free to spoon it in. And then also, the curcumin from grape skins and berries.
Oh, the resveratrol from grape skins, right? So,
did I say that? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yes, resveratrol.
So not necessarily having a glass of wine every time you make yourself a cabbage salad, but that might be, and we're not going to go into supplementation today, but there is an entire section of the detoxification course that I'm going to show you that is on supplementation, because sometimes supplementation is warranted. And that might be one. Would you agree? I don't know. I mean, do you recommend resveratrol supplements, generally speaking?
You know, yes and no. Resveratrol supplements, it just depends on the brand. Not all of them are stable enough to sustain. But you know, it just depends. That's kind of like a iffy question. But you know, you can never go wrong with food.
Right. So red grapes.
Red grapes.
Right.
And, you know, you do have, I'm glad you brought it up. You know, I know it's not the popular thing to say, but you do have to be careful with wine, with the alcohol content.
Yes.
Because, you know, some of the alcohol can kind of undo some of the benefits from the green, you know.
Because it's a toxin. It's a toxin.
It is a toxin.
And your body will, correct me if I'm wrong, but your body will prioritize clearing alcohol above a lot of things because it needs to get out of the body. So if it's working to get rid of the alcohol, maybe it doesn't have the capacity necessarily to detoxify other things. So
that's 100%. And that's why people get fatty liver. I mean, think about it. The reason why people get fatty liver when they drink too much alcohol is because your body's so busy detoxifying alcohol that it kind of puts fats and cholesterol on the back burner.
Yep.
And then that accumulates and people ultimately get, you know, they get fatty liver. So very true.
So Maureen is asking, how do we subscribe to PubMed? I thought it was free and we just do searches. Well, yes, it's free and you do searches, but you can subscribe to notifications. You want to tell them about
that? Yes, that's what I meant. Yes, it is free. However, as you know, not all the articles are actually free. So, you know, you'll get the abstracts. What I really meant to clarify is the notification. So, you know, there are keywords that you can put in, and I have certain keywords that, and then it can filter those articles. And every morning I get my list of research that I go through so I can stay on the cutting edge.
Jen is asking, I like drinking 100% grape juice instead of wine. I love that, Jen.
Yeah, I'm just watch the sugar content, but hey, go for it.
There's resveratrol there for sure. Okay, so Facebook users saying, you mentioned a slaw. Do we need to be super picky about a mayonnaise base? So, you know, dressing the slaw is important. So why don't you, I'll talk about my pick. Sheila, what would you pick?
Okay, so if you want to talk about a mayo base and not just oil and there is one that I like. It's in my fridge right now. I should run and go get it. Not that I promote any particular brand, but it's kind of like an avocado mayo base, but it's really expensive, I will admit, but I don't use a lot of it. So there, I can't even remember the brand, Jeannie. But it's a
so there's Sir Kensington does an avocado mayo. There's also Primal Kitchen does an avocado. Those are really the two primary brands that do avocado mayo. But
that's the one.
It's Primal or Sir Kensington.
Primal.
Okay.
Right. And then, but you know, you don't have to do a mayo base. You know, you could use, you know, olive oils and vinegars and, you know, Jeannie, I'm sure you've got some wonderful, you know, different concoctions you use. Sometimes I tell you what I do. I'll take hummus and I'll mix that in with some vinegar.
Such a great culinary tip. Listen to what Dr. Sheila Dean is saying right now about
mix it in and then it's yummy.
Any creamy bean dip, so like a white bean dip or a hummus, you know, a plain or flavored, really. All you have to do is add a little bit of vinegar and some extra olive oil or avocado oil and whisk it up. You've got you have a dressing. So simple. I will share with you what my favorite right now, and I'm like obsessed with it. I'm telling you, Sheila, I think I eat 2 heads of cabbage a week. I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. Because look, you know, you can do a slaw. Slaws are great. But raw crucifers are bitter. I mean, they have a very, very strong sulfur taste. So again, the benefit of us working together is, you know, we bring in the culinary piece of it, right? So how can I, in the kitchen, treat these crucifers differently to make them more palatable for some, because some people don't like eating raw broccoli or raw cabbage, but how can I make them different, or how can I minimize the impact of the sulfur flavor, right? And the best way to do that is by cooking. And roasting is number one for me. So what I've been making, Sheila, my mouth is watering right now because I haven't had lunch. I'm so excited because I'm definitely having
cephalic digestion.
Right, exactly. My digestion has already started, and I'm literally just thinking about it. But I take red cabbage and green cabbage, and I shred them and I toss them with some avocado oil, salt, and pepper, like really, really simple. And I put them in the oven, and it takes like 10 minutes, 10, 15 minutes, and they get soft and they get sweet. And that is and I also, with the salad, I will roast broccoli. I mean, this is like a slam dunk for detox. I will also roast broccoli. And then I would add like a free range egg or something on top of that. And then I have a turmeric dressing. So it's just like a little bit of a turmeric ginger dressing on top of that with maybe some sesame.
Love it.
Sound good?
Love it. It sounds wonderful. I'm going to share two more quickies.
Do it. Yeah.
My husband did this, and I loved it. You know, we had a butternut squash, and it was wonderful, but it was a hair bland. So what he did was he took some fresh garlic, you know, and put it in the soup along with a little bit of fresh lemon juice.
Amazing.
It completely transformed it. And I was like, oh yes, more alliums. The other thing is I failed to mention Brussels sprouts. Right. I love Brussels sprouts. You can roast those. And we started doing it with a little bit of coconut oil.
So good.
Oh my gosh. It was fantastic. Yeah. A little salt, a little garlic salt. And really good.
I love roasted Brussels sprouts. I take the Sir Kensington avocado mayo and I do a really healthy squirt of sriracha. And so I make it like a spicy dip. Honestly, I could eat like a whole tray. I have to be careful because it's so funny because sometimes when you cook these sulfur containing vegetables in your house, you know, your house has like a certain smell, But my kids, they smell it and they get excited. They're like, "Oh, is she doing the Brussels sprouts again?" And so they never even make it to the dining room table because they're like a great snack. So Brussels sprouts are really cool. So that's a good experience. Sonia has a question about pickled and fermented vegetables. Actually, if you want to just take a minute and talk about that, I'm going to queue up the course so I can show people kind of where we're heading. But what about pickled, like probiotics and prebiotics? How does that play into detoxification?
Well, you just hit it. Yes, pickled and fermented veggies are wonderful because they end up being a source of prebiotics. So what's a prebiotic? In a nutshell, the prebiotic is the food for the bacteria or the probiotic that go on to make something called SCFAs. SCFA stands for short chain fatty acids. Short chain fatty acids in turn end up being the fuel for a certain portion of the gut. And this is a positive thing. This is a good thing. So the more of these prebiotics that our probiotics can feed on, the more short chain fatty acids that we produce, the more proper healthy fuel we have for the colonic cells of the intestines.
So fermented vegetables definitely on the list.
Yeah.
So we'll definitely be having those in the meal plan. So lots of cruciferous vegetables, lots of alliums, turmeric. We'll do some red grapes, maybe like in a like a Waldorf style salad, right? Or you have the grapes and maybe some raw walnuts. I'm thinking so we're building out this meal plan that is going to align with all of the detoxification principles that Sheila talked about. Sheila, is it okay if I share my screen right now?
Yes, of course.
And while I start queuing that up, we have a question from Jen. Kefir, I always like that as well for probiotics. Would you say it's better to get from probiotics from food or a supplement? That's a good question, Jen.
I'm a real fan of supplements when it comes to probiotics, just because they have the reason being because there are certain brands that have certain proprietary strains that you wouldn't necessarily always get from other foods. So, obviously as a dietitian, I'm a fan of food, right? Food first. But I do think that some of these companies have done some amazing research in developing some amazing proprietary strains, right? And so I am a fan of a variety of, and I do like to recommend that we don't get stuck on one probiotic for like a decade. It's one thing to be on a probiotic for a year or two or whatever, but I think there's something to be said about mixing it up a little bit. And yes, from food, go for it. It's not going to hurt you. There are very few contraindications for a probiotic.
Except a little gas, maybe. If you're not used to eating, like if you haven't had kimchi before and all of a sudden you start eating it regularly. One of the tips that I give for something like a fermented product like kimchi is just start by consuming the liquid before really just diving in and putting it all over your salad, right? Because it really is a great, beautiful condiment for so many things. But you can start by just having a tablespoon at a time to get the benefits of the probiotics and then just kind of work your way up.
And what I mean by contraindications is I really mean that there are very few people who have some kind of issue or condition where they shouldn't be or can't have a probiotic.
Perfect.
And as you all probably know, after you've been on a round of antibiotics, if that has to happen, it's always going to be really important to then re-inoculate the gut with the probiotic through food and supplement.
Excellent. So we're going to dive into the course. Here it is, Sheila. Ta-da! Sheila hasn't seen this yet. So this is what it looks like. And Jen Hagen, thank you so much for supporting one of our guests in our kitchen. We're just like having a big party here right now. And somebody had asked, what is metabolic detoxification? I just jumped on. So for the person who asked that question, there will be a recording of this session with Dr. Sheila Dean. It's going to be in all the places where we're streaming. So YouTube, LinkedIn, and Facebook. So if you are with us right now, as soon as we're done, you'll be able to watch the recording. So you can always go back and listen. Thank you. And we will provide timestamps as well. Okay, so this is what the course looks like. This is nutrition to optimize detoxification. Now, Sheila, you just covered a lot of clinical information about detoxification. Is that something that we want to present to our patients?
I mean, there are some aspects of that I think, patients will probably appreciate. I just think it's the language you just have to be careful
Yes.
of. I mean, right? So as long as you're not bogging your clients or your patients down with overly technical language, I think patients appreciate the idea that our bodies need, nutrients, special nutrients and foods to help our body, detoxify. And I think it can be done in a way that people can appreciate and understand. So keep focusing when you're interfacing with your patients. I would focus more on food rather than clinical, like biochemical pathways.
Exactly. Like, what the outcome is going to be and the process to get there. For them, it's really about, basic information, evidence-based understanding of what detoxification is and toxic burden, which you can see to the left there, and kind of going through the process to support optimal detoxification. So here is nutrition to optimize detoxification. I just wanted to cover kind of what the process is. So Dr. Sheila Dean and Kathy Swift shared with my team the lesson on detoxification, metabolic detoxification. There's a lot. Wow, Sheila, I was blown away. I'm like scrolling. It is incredibly valuable. I can't even believe how small of a part that is of IFNA, because there's so much information there. And so you guys, if you join IFNA, IFN Academy, Integrative and Functional Nutrition Academy, you're going to be blown away by the amount of information. So anyhow, I'm just looking at this one lesson, and we built an entire course around it. Now, the content isn't in here yet, but I wanted all of our guests in our kitchen today to kind of see what it could look like as a consumer-facing product, right? Remember, you're spending time here with us today to learn about metabolic detoxification, to learn clinical implications of that. And you need to translate that for your patients. And this is what we're going to be providing you with. So this is where the program, you can see to the left here is a program outline. So what we do is we provide you with, number one, a lesson plan. So actually, let me just go. And Sheila, if you have any questions about what this looks like, that'd be great. You can ask questions too. But the first stop here is this, the facilitator's guide for the program. So we are taking all of the resources that Dr. Sheila Dean and Kathy gave us, as well as all of the references, and we are pouring them into a lesson plan. A course is not a slide deck. A course begins with a lesson plan, an evidence-based lesson plan of how are you going to communicate the science to the consumer. So we provide you with that. And then we also provide you with language on how do you present this program to the public. And then, of course, we're going to provide you information on the meal plans that we are building as part of this program. So let's take a look at what the lessons look like. So lesson number one, and Sheila, this really follows along with the information that you gave us. It starts by talking about toxic burden and what are sources of toxins. We provide the practitioners with materials and resources that are consumer facing. So things like handouts and ebooks. And then there is a narrated slide deck, again, in consumer language. And then there's a knowledge check, because you can't change what you can't measure. So you're going to be teaching your communities this lesson. You need to measure what their knowledge is to make sure that you're an effective teacher. So far, so good, Sheila?
Love it.
Okay. And now this is a really fun part, right? We are probably going to be changing up the cooking demonstrations, but my job, again, is to translate the science into food and what is on people's plates at the end of the day. So we need to build in cooking demonstrations. So part of this course that IFNA students and IFNA alums are going to be getting access to, as well as the Living Plate RX Prime members, they're built in here. So your consumers, your patients are going to be able to watch these videos. So there's a mashed chickpea salad. I'm also thinking we're probably going to do some type of a Waldorf salad, collard wraps. Sheila already talked about butternut squash. So a lot of great information here. And then we finish every lesson with SMART goals. Every lesson is structured the same. So you're going to see now, here's lesson number 2. Now you can deliver this all at once. If you delivered this all at once, it would probably take 60 to 90 minutes, or you can break it up into a 4-lesson course, which is what we recommend actually. So lesson 2 is chronic disease and identifying toxicity. So that gets into a little bit of the testing. I think there was some information on testing. And we, again, materials and resources we give to you. We give you a narrated slide deck, which you get the transcript, so you should re-narrate it yourself. and then a knowledge check. And look, Sheila, more videos. So we have like an
Ooh.
avocado lime salmon. Yeah. All this is here. Information on cooking oils. And then you can see we just have the rest of the lessons here. So format is always the same. The difference is the content on the inside. Are there any questions on the detoxification course and who it's going to be available to? You just come back to go back to the screen here.
So okay. Jeannie, this course is off, you know, if someone was interested in this course, could they access this course in and of itself, or is it part of a bundled program?
If they are an IFNA student or IFNA alum, they are going to get access to this course as part of our partnership. So if you are an IFNA student or alum, you should be really excited right now because you're going to get access to this course. What this course will do is it will also give you an introduction into Living Plate RX Prime membership. Now, Prime members get access to this course automatically as being part of our community, in addition to dozens of others. So we build these courses regularly. We're building a Fuel Your Fertility course right now, but we have a lot of courses already that our members have access to. But again, detoxification was one that everybody wanted and we didn't have. So we're building it. And as part of our collaboration, we're offering it at no cost to IFNA students and IFNA graduates. Does that answer your question? Mm-hmm. Okay. So Annette is saying, what would the price look like for clients? That is a sales and marketing strategy, Annette. So we can have another conversation about that. But, you know, that is really about assessing your market, knowing your market. It will also depend on kind of the health of your email list and, you know, how long have you been in practice? Like how many people are you serving? You know, if you have 1,000 or 2,000 patients, this course will probably sell very well. But if you're just getting started, you could even use this course as like an opt-in. So the courses don't always have to be a paid experience. Sheila, were you going to say something?
What you're saying, what you're saying though, because I wonder if she was asking, what you're saying is that she gets to determine the price.
She gets it. Oh yeah, I'm sorry.
Annette, you get.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
100%. Yeah, sorry, Sheila. Yes, the practitioner, we're adding value. IFNA and Living Plate RX, we're just adding value to your practice. However you want to offer that to your patients is up to you. Mm-hmm. You can offer it as a free experience, which would be super, super valuable. But you can also, and you know, I would say if you are going to offer a course as a free experience, I would make it an exclusive experience to somebody who's already working with you. Because typically a cold lead who opts into a free experience is not a great lead. It's not really always a great match for a course. I think people who are already working with you, this could be a huge, huge added bonus. Right. So think about, let's say you have 1,000 patients that you have served over a period of time and you send them, I would love to say, if I were still in practice, I would be sending this email, something about cutting through the noise, like do yourself a favor. Don't listen to detoxes, ditch the diets. You need to enroll in this course now because this course will give you the evidence-based information that you need to optimize detoxification. So let's see, we have another question here. Sonia, this course looks awesome. I love that you added SMART goals. One could supplement with wellness practices such as movement, sauna, lymphatic, yes, lymphatic drainage, dry brushing, all of that. Yes. I mean, these courses can be modified for your practice. So whatever your focus is. Yeah. All right. So Sheila, we had you on longer than we expected to. So thank you so much for hanging out with us. I'm going to actually remove this. Now, for those of you who have been on these Q&A strategy calls before, you know that when we say goodbye to our guest, we are actually going to continue to have a conversation about frequently asked questions that have been coming in and some updates for Living Plate RX Prime members. So everybody is welcome to stay on and join us, but Sheila is going to say goodbye now. And as a reminder, Sheila, I'm just going to bring up now, it's all the way up here. I just want to let people know how they can reach out to you.
Yeah, so, absolutely.
Is that
very simple? Okay. Yeah. Well, and when you go to the website, right there on the on the home page, there's a contact us page, and that's the fastest way that you'll get the fastest response. And we're pretty lightning fast about it. And so,
okay, good.
Yeah, and the website, has a ton of information. So take your time and go through it. There's a lot of questions on there that we answer right up front. Everything. So, but you're welcome to, give us, reach out via email. And you can also schedule what we call a discovery call. We're happy to chat with you and,
Amazing.
Answer your questions. So yeah, feel
I
free
have
anytime.
a question just came in that I want you to answer.
Yeah.
Would you agree that metabolic detoxification maximizes weight loss results? That's a question mark, especially for those who seem to lose really slow and plateau, even with exercise and calorie deficit.
Yeah, absolutely. Because, part of detoxifying is the elimination component, right? And so if you are, let me give you a quick example. It's a little bit technical, but I think,
Okay.
for example, hormones need to be detoxified. And there's an enzyme called beta glucuronidase, right? And beta glucuronidase is a special enzyme that when it's too high, what happens is it uncouples, it sort of undoes all the hard work that your body just did to bind up these toxins so that you can eliminate them, right? So what happens is the toxins get uncoupled and they get absorbed back into our enterohepatic circulation, back into the circulation. So to answer your question, when you've optimized detoxification, you can also maximize weight loss because you're allowing your body to detoxify phase 1, phase 2, and eliminate what you need for optimal weight loss.
Excellent. Thank you for taking time to answer that question.
Of course.
And for all of this information. Wow. Do you guys feel like you just went through a course? This is like, this is great. Just love it. Sheila, thank you again so much. We will see your partner, Kathy Swift, hopefully soon. And you'll come back on again. Yes?
Yes, of course.
Okay,
anytime.
Maybe after we publish the course, you'll come on and we'll share some more information. Okay. So everybody stay on board. We're going to move forward with our Q&A. Thanks again.
Thank you.
Sheila.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Okay, you can just sign off and we're just going to move ahead here. Okay, so wasn't that great? Oh my gosh, I just love having Sheila on. She's just such a wealth of information. Please tag her, reach out. You can go to the ifnacademy.com page and get more information. Please reach out to her. Just such valuable information. All right, so we have covered the Nutrition to Optimize Detoxification consumer course. I expect that we're going to move pretty quickly ahead with that. That will be ready and available to our members in January. So what you just had a preview of today just lets you know it is in the works. We're chugging our way through it's a lot of content. And it is quite clinical. So we're going to have to spend time translating that really to 8th grade reading level, which is really where we target most of our materials. So that you can deliver to your communities optimally. So the first thing I want to cover is a masterclass refresh. Let me tell you, this has been overdue. I apologize. This is something that I should have been doing all along, and I just lost sight of it, right? And so as we have developed new functions and our membership kind of configuration has changed a little bit, I didn't update the masterclass. Well, that's done now. So I encourage you to go back to your masterclass, and let me share my screen. I'm going to just remind you where that is. Okay. Okay, let's go back here. Make sure that we're in the right place. Okay, it's sharing the wrong screen. Oh, nope, it's in the right screen. Okay, it's just a little slow. Sorry about that. Okay, so I'm inside of the library now. I'd like you to go and check out the masterclass. It's just reconfigured. There are new lessons, new videos, just updated, generally speaking. The library tour was updated. And we just have a lot of great new things in there for you. So go ahead and check that out and give me your feedback. If there's something that you're not seeing there, let me know and I'll make sure that we get that in. What was added to the masterclass was this amazing, I'm going to show you this doc, like really high tech here, guys, right? It's just a Google Doc. But this document was created by Karen Reiser. Karen Reiser is a dietitian in Canada. She is supporting us right now with doing our coaching calls. So we are having twice monthly coaching calls. And I'm actually going to start posting the schedule. They're all booked now. I think the one in December, there's one in December that still has some seats left. But I'll start posting them in the masterclass so that you know when you can sign up. But she produced this document as a result of doing these coaching calls with our community. So these are the things that she thought would be really helpful. So let me just There we go. Okay, so on this fast track, there are active links to trainings that you should engage in. She also highlights just some key pieces of information, especially from the Nutrition Content Creation Accelerator, which covers really the foundation for how we create content and how you should be using your content. So just go ahead and go through this fast track to LPRX membership. I think you're going to find that super helpful. Next up, Chef's Plant-Based. Let's see some clapping hand emojis for those of you who are excited for this, because we are getting this across the finish line. This is actually our priority above all other course development right now. So we are getting this plant-based version of Chefs across the finish line. Okay. Everybody's saying, woohoo, woohoo, great. Yeah, clapping hand emoji. So the Chef's Plant-Based, we're going to try and get it done by mid-December. And it will look exactly like Chef's, except it will be 100% plant-based. What that requires is going through every module, every piece of content, and editing the animal proteins out. And inserting, we also have to create a new module. If you have used Chef's before, which is our Cooking, Healthy Eating, and Food Strategies course, 12 modules long, there's one whole module on animal proteins. We have to replace it. We actually removed that. And now we're creating a whole new module on basically a plant-based plate. So this is 100% plant-based. So if you have an interest or an interest in plant-based nutrition, or you only provide plant-based nutrition services to your clients, this is going to be for you. So super excited about that. Somebody is asking, what about the knife skills? Oh, I'm so glad whoever asked that question. I'm so glad that you asked that because we have them. They're done already. Once Chef's Plant-Based is out, we're going to be inserting the basic skills. And what we have done with the knife skills videos is we've taken, if anybody has been to Fancy, if you visited me while I was at the Food and Nutrition Conference, you actually saw those videos, so they're done. But we took different foods and we showed you 4 different ways to prep them using different knife skills. So things like mincing and chopping and slicing. We did rough chops, chiffonade. So just all of these, basic knife skills that are used throughout the videos in our courses. We have already produced those. So we're going to be inserting them. We're going to actually create like a sub-module of basic knife skills. So you could offer that as just a course or an opt-in or whatever you want. So we're really happy to offer the knife skills module to you really, really soon. All right. Next up is Fuel Your Fertility. So we have Chef's Plant-Based. We have Detoxification. And then we have Fuel Your Fertility. Those are the 3 courses kind of in the works right now. We are developing the lesson plans. So when I say in the works, I mean from the ground up. We're building these from the ground up. So really a lot of content work being done here. And so just wanted you to be aware that we're getting these across the finish line. Fuel Your Fertility, I'm going to say probably January, just because there's a lot of duplicity between PCOS information and Fuel Your Fertility. And I want to make sure that, while obviously we need to acknowledge PCOS, I just don't want too much duplication of references and resources in those 2 courses. So we're paying attention to that. Okay. And then somebody had a question about string marketing. Okay. Question is, will it be ready from string marketing as well? Yes. Yes. And actually, Stephanie from String Marketing, for those of you who don't know, we have partnered with String Marketing to upload our courses for our members to different EHRs. So electronic health record system. So Healthy and Practice Better are the 2 that we're uploading these courses to. So it's basically the course is already pre-built for you inside of your EHR. String also supports practitioners who use other learning management software. So think Kajabi, Thinkific, Teachable. All of these courses are going to be ready for upload into those platforms through String Marketing. So if you don't want to upload it yourself, You don't have to. And look, if you value your time, which most of you do, I hope, you should hire String Marketing, because she's put together a really affordable package. It will take you the chef's plant-based course. I mean, I want to say 50 hours. It'll take you a long time to rebuild that course yourself inside of a platform of your choice. So String Marketing is going to be the way to go. Okay. Question about from Hillary. Is there a PCOS course? Yes, there is a PCOS course. It's in the library already. Hillary, if you're not seeing it, please reach out to me. Okay. Sonia, you typed in a question, but it was only half done. If you want to complete that question, I can answer that for you. Okay. I think I've answered all the questions that have come in. Any other questions about content or what's coming up? Okay. Lastly, just to finish here, social media VA support. This has just like been an ongoing thing. So I just want to continue talking about it because it's really important. It's so important, in fact, that Stephanie from String Marketing and I are being very deliberate about this process. What we want to do, what we are doing is putting together a team of virtual assistants. Now, Stephanie is going to be managing this because she has a social media manager for all of her clients. But we are going to have a team of virtual assistants who are trained on Living Plate RX Prime materials, so that if you didn't want to do that anymore, if you haven't been doing it because it's just too much work and you need support from a virtual assistant to get the content in your social media channels, there's going to be an opportunity to do that. So truly moving as fast as we can. I know it seems a little bit slow, but it's just so important that we do it right the first time, because we want the experience for our members and for String Marketing for their clients to really be exceptional. So again, you will be able to hire a VA who is pre-trained and who is also being managed by String Marketing to put together a social media calendar and to facilitate it. So for those of you who have not watched Nutrition Content Creation Academy, you need to do that so that you understand the process of using the content to create a calendar, an evidence-based social media calendar, and also facilitate it. You can do it yourself, but we're going to be giving you an option for having somebody support you in that area. I just saw some more comments come in, so here we go. Let's tackle these. So plant-based chefs being added onto current chefs. It's actually going to be two separate courses. So you can have the regular plant-based, the regular chef's course, and then you'll also have a plant-based course. So it's not going to be incorporated. They're actually going to be two separate courses. Did that answer the question? Okay. And let's see here. We have another question. Happy Thanksgiving to all of you too. You are a blessing to all of us. Well, honestly, you guys are the blessing. This community is so amazing. You inform everything that we do, everything. So you tell us what you need and we will react to your needs as best as we can. So we're just really in this great place of being able to serve our community this way. When I say this way, I mean in a very formative way. So again, if you are taking a look at our materials and you're like, wow, I really could use this, you let us know and we will take care of it for you. You'll never create content from scratch again. Question. Is the difference between the plant-based chefs and regular chefs just the plant-based proteins portion? No, it's all animal products. So all animal products are going to be removed from the modules, from the lessons, from the handouts, from the meal plans, everything. It is going to be vegan, 100% plant-based. We may talk about, and we haven't created that one module yet, but we will probably talk about animal proteins and plant proteins simply to inform the consumer, your patients, your community, about really the difference, right? And the conversation about amino acids. You know, can you get enough protein on a vegan diet? Yes, you can, but you need to pay attention to this. So we'll probably still have the conversation, but there aren't going to be cooking videos with animal proteins. There won't be meal plans with animal proteins. It will be 100% plant-based. Would you offer a launch calendar with these courses? I love that. Yes, we can do that. Is that something that you would like? Let me know if that is something that you would like. So, and I can't see who's asked that question, just as Facebook user, sorry. But a launch calendar is basically a runway, right? So what am I going to do today to offer my webinar or my course or my offer in January? What does that launch look like? There's a lot involved, and we'll probably work with String Marketing to do that. That could be a really fun collaboration. So love this. I'm going to make note that we're going to be adding this to the development calendar. But, you know, a launch calendar is quite involved. It involves landing pages, opt-ins, email sequences, email automations, so like nurturing sequences. You can't just take a course and offer it on your website. That would be a really painful, slow way to generate revenue. You really have to create this launch calendar or this runway. So hope that answered your question. So yeah, I love it. Sonia's saying, when will the search feature be available? Sorry if you mentioned it already. Oh, Sonia, so I know you've been on for a while. You saw that the detoxification course was not built in Teachable. It was actually built in Kajabi. So we have already started the process of moving all of the Living Plate RX Prime library materials courses into Kajabi. I'm probably going to ask, and Sonia, I'll put you on the list. I'm probably going to ask for a group of practitioners to dip their toe into the Kajabi library first and run a couple of tests. But the search function in Kajabi is much better. You'll be able to type in, for example, label. And everything that has the word label is going to pop up. So for example, if you're looking for how to read a nutrition facts label, that's a great example. Or detoxification or weight management, you'll be able to type in those search terms and it'll search the library to find that for you. So not the library, actually, I'm sorry. It will search that category. So handouts, blog posts, that it's going to search the categories much, much better than Teachable will. Okay. Hillary, yes, I love how receptive you are to new content creation. If you aren't a Living Plate RX, so here's a testimonial, guys, love it. If you're not a Living Plate RX member, it's the best money you can ever spend building your business. Hillary, thank you for that. It is my pleasure to serve this community. Yes, if you want to say goodbye to the burden of content creation, we're your people. So go to livingplaterx.com and you can find out information there. You'll never create a meal plan from scratch and you'll never create any more content from scratch. We're here for you. The launch calendar we addressed. Okay, this is Celine, great. Yes, Celine, terrific. The launch calendar, the runway, yes, I love that. We're definitely going to be creating one for you. Okay. One more question here before we go. Do you personally prefer a plant-based diet, and what is your view on meat products? So that's a great question. So I'm a practitioner. I had a private practice. I no longer counsel. But when I had a private practice, I always considered what my patients' preferences were, and that drove my recommendations. So I wouldn't always recommend a 100% plant-based diet. But what I did recommend, which is what the evidence says, is that for the most part, everyone should be consuming a 75% or more plant-based diet. 25% or less can be animal proteins, or you can consume a 100% vegan diet, which would be 100% plants. So it's not, my personal preferences, it's always about what's best for the patient. We do have practitioners who only follow a plant-based diet and they recommend that to all their clients. But guess what? They attract clients and community members who are interested in following a plant-based diet. So I don't advocate for any one particular, dietary pattern, except that 75% or more should be plants, because the benefits of plants are known and people don't eat enough of them. So hope that answered your question. Will you write your own cookbook? Maureen, you already have access to it, the meal plans. I don't know that I'll do a retail cookbook, but every recipe that I create that I love is in the meal plans. So you basically have thousands of my recipes for free. So you don't need to buy a cookbook, but it's probably on the horizon, but just not anytime soon. Somebody is saying, so Karen is saying, silly question. Never a silly question. I am new to the community and I am a health coach. What is the best way to understand and utilize the program? Oh, Karen, if you are just joining us, I guess it was about 15 minutes ago, I let you know, I shared with you the fast track sheet here. Let me just share it with you right now. This is the best place to start. This fast track sheet, go to your master class, which is in the library, open that up and dive into this document. This is the fast track to really understanding how Living Plate RX Library can support you. You know, the reason why this was necessary is because we have a lot of new members coming in, and there's a tremendous amount of content. It can be overwhelming. It's literally like a tidal wave of content, which sounds great. Don't get me wrong. I am not going to slow down anytime soon. We're just going to continue to pump out the content. But managing that for some people is a lot. So what we're asking everyone to do is just take a breath before you start diving into the meal plans or the content, and start just with some simple trainings that I already have in place. Go through the masterclass. That's going to be your best bet, Karen. All right. Maureen is saying, laugh out loud. I think you could write a wonderful one. Oh, thanks, Maureen. Yeah, again, we'll see. We'll see. But right now you have access to thousands of my recipes at your fingertips for free. All right, everyone, thank you so much for joining me. If you are watching this as a replay, don't worry, I'll get rid of that troll. We have a troll in the group right now. If you are watching this as a replay, you will be able to watch the recording. As soon as the timestamp is done, I'll put it in YouTube, LinkedIn, as well as the Facebook group, so that you can refer to specific topics as they are relevant to you. As always, love spending the afternoon with you today. I will see you in the kitchen again soon. I'm actually doing a live event. I haven't done one in a really long time. A live cooking event with Melissa Groves next week, the hormone dietitian. It's going to be a lot of fun. So keep your eyes open for that email. And I will see you guys again really soon. Take care. Bye.